evening, Vietnam. Welcome to my little corner of the world. My name is Ali Bois, and today I wanted to talk about all the writing projects I have going on. As someone who has a lot of strange ideas at different times, I am never sure which idea is going to be the golden one. So I jot down thousands and thousands and thousands of different ideas, and eventually I will decide which ones I want to choose. Now, for the time being, right now I have 17 projects that I plan to work on, but some of them can be dropped, some of them could be finished. You never know where the new year is going to take you. Since I wanted to start taking writing and YouTube more seriously, I wanted to give you guys sort of a directory to what type of books I write or what I'm into, so that when I try to give advice or have videos based on my writing, you kind of know a little something about how I write. Also, all the covers that are posted on here were made by me. So the first project I have is Trials of the Triad, which is an active project, which means I'm working on it right now. It is a high fantasy adventure, has lots of romance. Well, I wouldn't say lots of romance, but it has a lot of fantastical elements, a lot of action, adventure, the whole thing. It is a 4-book series, and it follows 2 characters, Calypso, who is a smuggler across an illegal border, and Nero, someone who is currently running to be the country's next leader. It is a fantasy sort of story. You will hear about it more than once on my channel, so that's all I'm going to give you, and I'm super excited for it. I'm currently writing, I'm like in my 5th draft right now. So the next story I wanted to talk about is The Dark Heavens. The Dark Heavens is a dark fantasy. What do you think? And it is outlined already. I do want to redo another outline. It's basically my retelling of Anastasia, like, you know, The Lost Princess. It's one of my favorite movies, and I wanted to tell it in a dark fantasy setting. So it is about this girl named Anya. She has not remembered her life up until 3 years ago, so she's been living these 3 years knowing that she had a life somewhere. And it is about when 2 strangers come knocking on her door in order to repay a debt. I am so excited to write this one. I've been always excited to write this one. The next story we have is Birth of a Dreamer. Birth of a Dreamer is a adventure fantasy, highly adventure circled 1,000 times because it is an adventure for sure. It is, I'm not sure how many books it's going to be yet. It's either going to be 2 or 3. The first book is outlined or pre-outlined. It is about these people called Cedrons who have the abilities to jump in and out paintings, and it's about this grand world and how this girl was kind of shunned from this world because of her lineage when she was young. So she ran away and she started a new life, and it's about one day when she's sent back to where she grew up, and an adventure kind of awaits for her. It is heavily inspired by all the adventure stories I used to read as a kid. If you guys don't know me from Wattpad, I'm going to leave my link right here or my little Snapchat code. But the majority of the stories I have on my Wattpad are about werewolves because I love werewolves. So I can't have a book here, like a book in here, and not have it be about werewolves. So this one is called Watercress Ridge, and it is kind of a seedling, I would say. And when I say seedling, I mean it's an idea that hasn't been outlined yet, but it is an overall concept that I do want to delve into. If you know the basics of werewolves and alphas, good for you because you'll understand this, and if not, I'm going to break it down for you. So usually in the werewolf tropes, there's alphas and they rule over a certain territory. Well, in my story, there are 7 alphas only, and they all sort of rule over different sections of land. Like some can own a part of Puerto Rico while another one also owns a part of Puerto Rico. But with this one, it is about when 2 packs kind of have this Venn diagram and they sort of rule over the same land. And it is about when a human is murdered on the shore and how both of these alphas have to come to this place and figure out what the hell is going on. I'm super excited for that one. That is 1 book. It's a good one. So the next book we have, book number 5, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4. Book number 5 is going to be Into the Night. It is a urban paranormal fantasy. It is in between 3 to 4 books. It is about this girl named Amelia Blackwell. She lives in this small town, somewhere in the world. And it is about one day when she is walking home from a football game and she stumbles upon a car crash. And in this car crash, there are 2 people. 1, there is someone she knows, and 2, there is someone she doesn't know. Because she takes into consideration of their wounds, she decides to help the stranger. He dies, he leaves behind something, and then weird shit starts happening. It's super vague, my description, but I like to be vague with my descriptions because I do like to avoid as many spoilers as possible. But that is Into the Night. Next book we have is not a book, but it's a series. Like I said, if you know me from Wattpad, if you don't, here's my Snapchat code, so you can go and add me. But you will see the majority of the books I have are werewolves. Okay, so there's a series of stories that I have on there called the Big Bad Chronicles. So it's like the Big Bad Alpha, the Big Bad Luna, the Big Bad Omega, so on and so forth. I have made a video just talking about this series, and after a long consideration, I do want to rewrite it, just not now. It is pre-outlined, it is fantasy. The first draft is actually posted on Wattpad, so you can go see that and all that other stuff. Please don't judge. Yeah, the next story I have is actually a short story. I have a collection of little seedlings of ideas that I want to write, but I don't want to make them as thick as a series. I want them to be fairly short. Swan Season is a mystery. It is a dark fantasy short story, and that is all I'm going to give you, and I don't give a fuck that that's all I'm giving you. Anyways, so the next book we're gonna have...
Oh wow, I'm getting so tired of saying next book and we're not even halfway done.
The next book I have is Tall Tales. This is another one. However, this one is 2 books, I believe. They're short stories, but they're short stories that are split into different books. It is called Tall Tales. It is a dark fantasy. Next story we have is Ego. Ego is not outlined. It is not a seedling. It's literally a scattering of scenes. Like,
I have scenes jumping around all over the place. I like to write on it when I kind of need to wind down.
But there is a lot of good stuff in there. I'm not sure if it's actually going to be something I will commit to writing, but it is a project that I'm working on, so I just thought I'd include it. It is about this girl named Quinn, and that is it. Because, and the reason I just say that is because the scenes vary, and what goes on in each scene is a bit different, so there's no real synopsis for it. But I thought I'd just mention it. Next story we have is 16 Plus. 16 Plus is a...
It's not a dark fantasy. I would say it would be like a noir. Like if you could turn a noir movie like into a book, it would be that, and it would have dark fantastical elements in it.
It is about when an older sister... They find this matchbox, and it is from this hotel called 16 Plus. So they decide to go to this hotel and hunt down the man that killed their mom and see what the fuck's going on. The next one I have, this is the first regular story we have. It is called Under the Hill. If you see Zendaya right here, if you think that's Zendaya, it is. You know why? Because if this were ever to become a script or anything like that, she is the first person I'd want to play. Now let me explain this a little bit. This is a story, but I could easily see it become a Disney Channel movie. So if that option ever came up, hit me up, Disney. Hit me up. But Under the Hill is about this girl named Corey. She is an artist.
She's an artist. I'm forgetting my words.
She's an artist, and one day she decides to make a bet with her nemesis that she can sneak into a bar, but homegirl's kind of got a baby face. She decides to put makeup on her face to make her look like an older woman, and it works, and she happens to run into a very famous person within the art community, and she's given this once-in-a-lifetime chance at this internship as an old lady, so she decides to take it, and it is kind of like... she also has this 17-year-old life where she's a junior in high school dealing with shit, and then she's also living this separate life. Next one we have is the big... What? Do I know my words? The next story we have is Beauty... I don't want to say that. I don't want to say Beauty and the Bad Boy because I don't like that. I don't like that title. The title of this book is called The Truth About Thorns, and I just changed it because I was like,
you know what? A lot of people won't read that on Wattpad. I'm like, But... if they see Bad Boy in the title, they'll read it. So that's why that is there, and there's so many different titles to this one.
But it's about this girl named Ramona Rose. She's got her boyfriend. Her boyfriend has recently cheated on her. So she decides not to get revenge on him, but just decides to better herself as a person. You know, kind of really learn who she is. And she's given the assistance by the acclaimed bad boy Logan Thorne. And shit goes down. Next, we have The Lash. The Lash is a short story. It is about a boarding school in Nevada, and where it holds all these sort of misfits and delinquents, and it's about one of them, Henry, who decides to break out for the weekend and head on over to Las Vegas. Next one we have is Camp Sass. Camp Sass is also a short story, set kind of in the summertime, one of those summer romances, contemporary feel. We've got a theme here. It is about a camp, but it is about a camp filled with delinquents, and it's supposed to like a bunch of charity work and community service, and they'll learn their ways, but they ain't really having that, so they decide to host their own little competition to find the evilest of evil in their camp. Not really evil, but the sassiest, you know what I mean? And there is a purse at the end, so yeah, it is a multiple person point of view, so there is no real protagonist yet. Next one we have is Silk. Now, I don't know when I'm going to write this, but I know I'm going to have a fun time writing this. Silk is about this girl who has lived in the city, and she doesn't know what to do with her life, and she's like, what the is going on? And upon peculiar means, she acquires the ability to teleport. With this newfound ability, Homegirl decides to become a superhero. So the next one we have Mysterious Case of Fields. This is also one of those contemporaries that I can see in a Disney Channel movie or like a movie of sorts. But it's about this girl, she's a writer, and one day she gets a gnawing critique from someone, and she is walking home and she's angry and filled with so much emotion, and she starts telling, I guess, herself who this character is. This character that this critique had a majority of the problem with. And as she's doing this, she's just spitting out like, this is who he is and this is what he's like, you know, kind of talking to herself. She goes home, falls asleep, wakes up to her character literally knocking at her door. And it is about when, imagine as writers, if one day your character came knocking on your door, what the hell would you do? Finally, we have the deal. The deal is like one of the most, I'm so excited for this story, like to write the story, because it's gonna take a lot out of me, and I can't wait, you know what I mean? But it is a seedling, it has not been outlined, it has not been touched. I'm letting it brew in my head for as long as possible before I start to outline it. And it is about this girl named Olivia, and she is valedictorian, she's smart, she's got a good head on her shoulders, and she's in love with her best friend, and her best friend is dating someone else. So in order to get her best friend, she comes up with a plan with a certain somebody by the name of Aaron Armstrong to help her. They write up a contract and they sign it, and the story takes a turn when Olivia learns that who she made this deal with is not exactly who they said they were, and this deal isn't exactly breakable. So those would be my works, all of them. At least the ones that I plan on writing very soon. I hope you enjoyed this video. My name is Ali Bois. Today was a day in the life. Welcome to my corner, and drink some water. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. Bye.